Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the TGIF Business Networking Hangout. I'm your host, Melanie MacDonald. I'm a brand identity and outreach strategy consultant serving small businesses, solopreneurs, and nonprofits. Located here in the Coachella Valley, California, near beautiful Palm Springs, but available worldwide via Hangouts, where I do my consultations. We've got a great show for you today. My special guest is Dr. Alan Chong. He's known as the Spine Coach, and he's going to be talking about living pain-free and energized. Stuff that we all need to know, especially as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, and those of you who work from home like I do, and we sit in front of our computers for much of the day doing our work, talking to our clients on our phones, or whatever else we're doing. One of the things that I did to combat that was get this headset so that I could get up and walk around when I'm talking on the phone to people. That's helped a little bit. But we're going to hear a lot more about that subject from Dr. Alan in just a little bit. First of all, TGIF is a networking show. It's not just an interview show. I have the link to join in the Hangout posted in the event page. So if you'd like to come in and you have questions for Dr. Alan, please do come in, click that link. It'll bring you into our Hangout. And we are newbie friendly. I'm going to start off with our guests who are participating in the Peanut Gallery and give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Brian, you are up first. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brian Rowley, and I produce content for the web for my clients. I help them see how blogging and social media can drive more traffic to their website. Brian Rowley, mousehelp@roselle.com.
Thank you, Brian. Great introduction. And now, next up is John.
Hi, I'm John Jerkowitz, owner, chief cook, and bottle washer of Jerkowitz Consulting Services, online coaching and consulting to small business owners, entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, and just about anyone who wants to improve the quality of their life.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Roxanne, please unmute yourself and give us an introduction.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Davenport. I am with, I blog for Seizure of the Day and just joined up with National Seizures Foundation to help raise money for helping with research and with families that are in need with help with medication or with epilepsy, because it's very expensive. We're going to start doing some fundraising.
Thank you. Awesome introduction, awesome work that you do. And I'm going to ask each of you guests to please put your contact info into the comments under the event page at the end of the show, so that if anybody who is watching wants to get a hold of you, they know how to do that. Okay, and now we get to our special guest, Dr. Alan Chong.
Hello there.
Spine Coach. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'm a practicing chiropractor, almost 28 years in practice now, and I still practice. I own and run 2 clinics here in Calgary, Canada, and a specialty care clinic for spinal decompression, people with disc problems. And that is one of my areas of interest, all kinds of disc issues, herniated discs, degenerating discs. It's a huge problem as we see the aging population. So really, I'm an expert in the spine and the health of the spine. But the other thing that really has interested me for a long time, and I practice, Melanie, is healthy living.
And how did you go from being the practicing chiropractor that you are into doing this much coaching? Because that's not something I see very often, especially with chiropractors with busy practices. You said you have 2 offices. How do you find the time to do it all? And what was it that really motivated you to want to go out there and do more reaching out and coaching?
Great question. You know, it was about 2 years ago, probably more. I started having the yearning. Like, I know all this stuff. I help a lot of people, but it's local. And I thought, I really want to either speak or reach out to a larger audience and help people around the world. and I didn't know how to do that. And then I discovered that through Hangouts and people like Lisa Ingalls, and I took her course, by the way, and there's a bit of pitch for her on how to do Hangouts. That was number one. The second was that I knew that I needed to create more of a formalized program or something to avail myself to do that, to reach out to people. And so that's where I came up with thespinecoach.com through some coaching and some help from others. Certainly to create the structure and the back end, as we call it, of what goes on to deliver a product, which is, and I've decided to reach out as a target specific audience more to entrepreneurs, people like you, Melanie, who sit too long. And I created what's called, my signature program is called the Energized Entrepreneur. And since there, it's kind of branched off. And I am still more in a starting phase of that because, like I said, I still work full time. So it's like two jobs.
So how do you handle all of that? How do you find the time to go and do the outreach and the coaching? You have a partner, right, Elaine Cooper? And has that been very helpful? Or?
Right. For a project that we're doing, which is kind of a special product launch or series, is Elaine Cooper, who's the Better Living Coach. And we met through a joint conference, and it just clicked that our programs are very synergistic in the sense that she deals with more better living, as in particularly eating. She has background in cooking and food, and she was a guest, what, about 4 weeks ago on your show, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So it is available in replay. She has some awesome stuff to share. And we just decided, how are we going to reach a larger audience? What you're teaching makes great sense. What I teach is more along the lines of spine, posture, alignment, the importance of that. And of course, later in this show, I want to touch upon what CNN announced in research earlier January this year, said that sitting is killing us virtually despite regular exercise. So sitting is killing us, we know that, and it speaks even more to me that I want to reach out to people to help them, because the solutions are actually fairly simple, but most people don't either know or heed the advice.
Well, I have actually one more question before we get into that part, and that part I really want to hear because I sit way too much during the day. But you mentioned your public speaking. How did you get interested in public speaking? And I'm interested because I do public speaking as well. I'm a Toastmaster, and I'm active in my Toastmasters Club, and I give presentations throughout the Coachella Valley. So what got you interested in public speaking? Have you taken any public speaking courses or classes? Are you a Toastmaster? Are you an active speaker in your area?
I am yes and no. Public speaking on a grander stage is something that I'm exploring and taking courses. Marcia Weeder, Dream University, is one of the courses I'm taking, her public speaking course. And no, Toastmasters is something that would be great. Again, it's time. It's time committed. My Mondays to Fridays, a good thing I work half-day Monday and half-day Fridays, but in between it's totally packed. And with an online business as well, it's more than packed. But what it is, just to give you, I am a man of balance, or trying to seek that balance like all of everyone else, is to balance what I do so I'm not burning the midnight oil, which I've done.
Now you do have your own show, right? Your Hangout show, and that gives you a lot of
Healthier,
practice.
Happier You, which we just went through season 1, which is awesome. That's how I met a number of you through Healthier, Happier You show. We don't have a series lined up for the spring because we decided to do a series, 2 mini-series. We did one recently, which was awesome. Featuring a gastroenterologist twice, and then some entrepreneurs, basically addressing, is there a real issue out there with eating and sitting and all those things? And absolutely, the people, I mean, I don't think we can deny that, Melanie.
Right. And so if you are watching and you want to see that series, just click on Dr. Alan's links in the event listing there and go to his page, and you'll see posts for those series.
Which is thespinecoach.com. You can get all that information there on my website.
Okay, spinecoach.com. Thank you so much.
Spinecoach.com.
Now let's get into what you were talking about. You said CNN put out a report that sitting is killing us. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was a Toronto study, and as you know, studies can take a long time, so the research has been going on, and what they, the quick of it is that it was reported that sedentary, and I can quote them here, Annals of Internal Medicine, well, who cares, unless you're a physician or really into the journal, that's where it's from. Sedentary behavior increases our chances of getting a disease or a condition that will kill us prematurely. And I think that's the key word. I mean, you know, sitting actually right here is not literally killing us right now, but it is prematurely shortening our lives. And more importantly, I think, potentially decreasing the quality of our life to the degree where premature illness and leading to death is a serious problem, even if we exercise. So exercise taken into account, people that exercised and people that didn't exercise, there was the same, you know, illness and death rate in the end. Curious. That was kind of eye-opening.
Well, is there anything that we can do to combat that? Or is it we're just doomed because we sit?
Absolutely, and that's where the research did not touch upon. So that's good news for us. We know that in general, even philosophically, we know, and intuitively, most people know that if they eat better, they do some exercise. There's no question that exercise does help. Okay, World Health Organization states that, but inactivity was linked as something that was kind of taken for granted. Well, you know, I have a sitting job, it's not going to harm me because I exercise. Well, that's now shown not to be necessarily true, and I think that is the key evidence that we need to look at. So, Melanie, to address that question, for example, you shared a bit about that you sit approximately how many hours per day?
I sit probably, gosh, at least 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day. And you know, many of you in the audience, I don't fortunately have a sitting job. As a chiropractor, I'm very active, moving, and I love that part of what I do. But my other part-time job and passion to reach out to other people has caused me to need to sit for a lot of hours. And I felt that burning back pain, shoulder tension, neck pain. You've all felt that out there, and those are what I call the warning lights. So even before the warning lights go on, one of the simple practical tips that I give is just to, sound simple, but to stand up at least twice per hour and move around. Like you said, Melanie, you chase your dog. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I sit 8 hours, but it's not 8 hours straight. I do get up a lot and, you know, go do something in the house, do a house chore, chase my dog. My dog actually is really helpful because she likes a lot of attention. She likes to be chased. So I'll get up and I'll run around the room. So that's helping me. Is that going to help prevent
it
me
will,
from
it will help you, but again, some exercise doesn't necessarily save you. So I believe, and you know, there's going to be more research in this area, but that it's the whole picture. It's not just sitting, but sitting is often associated with snacking, fast food, convenience food, poor posture. Poor posture actually harms people much more than they know of, and that's why I have a passion for getting that message out there. And for one, it causes premature degeneration in the spine. Sitting does. We know that because the loading of the spine is excessive with sitting. And even in the lower back, called the lumbar spine, to the mid-spine to here, where people often develop a premature hump. And what concerns me to a great deal, if you see children and young people, they're developing serious and perhaps permanent premature humps in their back, which is not just cosmetic.
Wow, that's not
Serious
good.
Problem.
Okay.
I don't think anybody wants a hump.
No, especially early in life. At this point, I'm going to go down to our guests in the peanut gallery and see if any of you have any questions thus far for Dr. Alan. Brian, John, and Roxanne, anything that you'd like to share or ask? Put your hand up and let me know. Or John turned his microphone off. I'm going to assume that.
I just want to just kind of reinforce what Dr. Allen said, because I injured my back about 5 years ago. And I know that the more I sit, the more difficulty I have in retaining and maintaining flexibility and all those other neat things. So one of the things I've done, and this may sound kind of crazy, I have an egg timer, and every hour I get up and move around for 10 minutes. So when the egg timer goes off, I get up from my desk and I go do something for 10 minutes just to keep the flexibility in my legs and my lower back.
And that is excellent. I would tweak that a bit there, John. People like you, if you were to get up twice an hour for 5 minutes, would likely be better than once at 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
So just because the dynamics of the spine, the circulation, everything, so people in your category that sit for taking a break at least once per hour, I am now recommending at least twice per hour short breaks.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Audience, if anybody out there is watching, I'd like to remind you to go ahead and post any of your comments and questions to Dr. Allen in the comments under the event page. We will be keeping an eye on those and sharing them with Dr. Allen, giving him a chance to answer them. We've got Dana Rivera out there. Hi, Dana. Thanks for joining us. And she says that this is definitely motivating her to stand while she's watching this. So good habits are forming already.
That's fantastic. And, I do want to comment on standing desks. I think they are a good move in the workplace and in the home and for entrepreneurs and such. But just to clarify, for most people would benefit from half standing, half sitting. Now, whether you alternate an hour at a time, so I know there's some great devices out there now that can switch from sit to stand quite readily, and there's some great chairs out there that actually move. I personally sit on a sit-fit type ball, a squished ball type chair. Not a ball chair, but a squished one on a regular chair for the most part when I do sit, so in front of a computer especially. And again, of course, I try to keep my head upright posture-wise. Just a quick tip, if I may there, Melanie, is that some people still teach shoulders back, and I believe personally that's incorrect from both experience and anatomically it's not correct. What needs to happen for most people is the head needs to come back. So sideways like this, the head actually, most people are like this, whether they're looking at a device or they're working on the computer, they're like this. What they need to do is be upright like that. So there needs to be a head and neck shift back to restore that normal curvature of the spine. And again, often professional help is needed to really get it accurate and corrected. Most people don't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's really interesting. Yeah, and it's funny because when you were talking about it, I all of a sudden was like, sitting up a little straight.
Absolutely. Who didn't straighten up with that?
Roxanne, do you have something you'd like to add?
Well, I found out about leaning over like that. It's because my computer wasn't raised up high enough. So I had to put something underneath it because I was looking down at the screen. So I made it level, eye level. to make.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, eye level or above. And, you know, in my programs, I go over all the nitty gritty and the details, either on a personal coaching basis or group coaching. I teach all that stuff. And, you know, the crazy thing is that I've been teaching that for years. One of my offices clinics is right downtown in Calgary, corporate Calgary. So I see so many people complaining. They're not necessarily in pain, but the humps are developing, and some, unfortunately, have become permanent for some people, and it's showing up younger and younger. It's terrible, really. So we need to do something about that.
Well, thank you. That's some good tips. And we've got another question here. This one is from Richard. Talk to me, guy. Oh, what does Dr. Allen think about sitting on a ball when sitting? And that's a good question. I have one of those big exercise balls that I don't use as often as I should or at all. But it's very comfy.
They can be good for short periods of time, but it's more practical when you're not at a desk, unless people like you have an oversized ball and an undersized desk, because the other relationships are the proper ergonomics of the hand position, arm position, shoulders, again, upright, screen, monitor height. So if your ball is a perfect setup for that, that's great. It does produce what's called active sitting, so you can move around and bounce around, so that is healthier for the discs and the spine. But one of the problems is a lot of corporations discontinued or have policies against using those in their offices because people have actually either fallen asleep or fallen off their ball somehow, and therefore creates a safety hazard. So what used to be a popular trend briefly, even when they're on platforms, has switched to higher tech chairs that wobble, more active sitting type arrangements. So the recent trend appears to be the the stand sit desk, where a person can adjust it up and down. But again, there are different ergonomics in place, so the monitors need to raise, the keyboard, the mouse, everything needs to change relative to body positioning, and that gets more technical. We can't go into that all in this show. That's what I teach in my courses and such.
Right, but basically, if you're standing up, but your monitor is staying in the same place, then you're
looking down and you're developing a hump.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I have a little experience to share, and this is for anybody else out there who might be short like me or have short legs. And I used to experience a lot of back pain, especially in my lower back, and then I realized it was because my legs were kind of dangling off my chair. My desk was high enough that I had to raise my chair high enough to be properly positioned for my keyboard and my monitor. And when I finally figured this out and got a little footstool for underneath my desk so that my feet could rest on it, a lot of those problems just went right away. Is that something that you run into a lot, Dr. Allen?
Oh, absolutely. It's I jokingly call that short leg syndrome, but unfortunately I have that problem too. So it is a matter of setting up an appropriate size desk and, again, all those ergonomics. But a footstool type arrangement is the solution for most people in that category. Now, again, without looking at that exactly, basically the knees need to be 90 degrees, the hips 90 degrees, the ankles 90 degrees, and elbows 90 degrees. And then, of course, monitor height needs to be in the right position after that. So footstool is a good solution for part of the issue, and it's amazing. You just referred to what is a common problem, is that a lot of people's back pain and spinal problems are related to poor posture and ergonomics. And even ergonomists are not necessarily correcting in that because they aren't defining ergonomics based on ideal perfect posture, and that's one of the differences of what I teach and an ergonomist, for example, or trying to read it on YouTube or look at it on YouTube or research it purely online. You're going to get different opinions out there.
So how do we know then, when we see so many different opinions, what are some of the things that we can look for that let us know that this opinion is valid, or this opinion is educated, or this is a good opinion versus, you know, red flags, this person is just putting stuff out there but doesn't really know what they're talking about?
Here's what I've learned over years of practice is that the proof is, of course, in the results. So being a results-oriented coach as well as chiropractor, if you have an ergonomic setup that is technically ideal, or you know, you thought was great, and you're feeling discomfort and pain and fatigue, there's something not right. So listening to the warning lights of discomfort and fatigue, tight muscles, has it really addressed your problem? It might address it temporarily. It might be an improvement from where you are now, which is great, but is it perfectly ideal? And that's where ergonomics is based on you, the person, every individual, not textbook answers.
Okay, awesome.
So I do say, kind of like in sports to some degree, or performance activities, let your body tell you what's going on. Let discomfort be a guide. Certainly, if it doesn't address your pain and you're addressing causes of pain, discomfort, there's something not right still.
Now we have Dana again. She says, yes, that's me, short leg syndrome. Great to know about the footrest. So Dana's getting a lot of help today. She's standing.
Hey, we helped another person.
And Roxanne, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yes. Does, you know, standing up straight, walking like that, or just any kind of spine problem have anything to do with restless leg syndrome?
It can, because the spine is made up of what? The nervous system is the primary part of the spine. Most people don't think of that, but the spine is so important. It's the center of you. It's the structural center of you. It's also the nervous system center if you include the brain, you know, because, of course, the spine supports the brain. So what restless leg syndrome appears to be in most people is an overactivity of the motor part of either the spine that triggers involuntary movement, and or an interaction with the rest of the nervous system. So you know, now addressing that, if you ease some irritation in the spine and the nervous system, spinal cord, the different inputs and the outputs of the nervous system, if you can ease those, and that's how the treatments for restless leg syndrome tend to work, is by dulling the nervous system with pharmaceuticals, or more naturally with adjusting the spine, correcting the irritations in the spine, correcting your posture so that there's much less cause for, you know, involuntary activity. Similarly with twitches, you know, and it is complex. People that have facial twitches and tics, I mean, it's interesting. Stress is also a factor, but if you define stress as overstimulation or hyperstimulation of the nervous system on a chronic basis, we know that it causes disease and disorders and premature death. I mean, that is, one of the deadly habits.
Oh my. I mean, some nights, it got so bad, I would not lay still. My legs sometimes would feel like they were on fire. And finally got put on Mirapex. So that helped some, but some nights it wouldn't help at all.
Right.
I would get up and walk. It would keep me awake. So, but finally I lost some weight, and that helped some. So it hasn't bothered me as much. But if I walk too much during the day or stand up for long periods of time, it still bothers me. But thank goodness not as much. But having epilepsy, does that have something to do with it too?
Again, it appears that epilepsy is a complex, you know, hyper activity of the brain where it just goes into a loop that is not fully understood, and a person has a seizure, right? So, you know, obviously it is part of the nervous system that's reacting there, so it is just logically, again, I'm not studying the research in all the research in epilepsy, but it would make sense that it would be a factor. So what we're saying, like health philosophy-wise, is to get rid of the environments, the toxic environments, or the irritations, correct your spine, correct your posture, lose some weight if you need to, the various things to make yourself a healthier person. Should ease a lot of these triggers to what is a deeper, more complex problem. But you're addressing it from the causes, as in the multiple causes that cause that restless leg syndrome. And keeping in mind, restless leg syndrome is only a warning light to what potentially else is happening.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
from a holistic standpoint, that's the way. I mean, I'm a holistic chiropractor. I'm proud to say that. Yet I have some very high-tech tools to do decompression and tackle some really serious problems.
Yeah. Something funny though. My husband's grandmother, she's had it, and she said she used to put a bar of soap in her bed. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't heard of that medicine one.
She said it was just old, one of those old wise mother tales.
Maybe that soap made the sheets more slick and slippery and decreased irritation. Who knows? I don't know what she was doing underneath the sheets there.
Well, I'm going to get this back on track, because talking about grandmas between the sheets, that's a little off tangent there.
Yeah, that's
old wives' tale, just a little joke.
Right. Thank you, Roxanne, for your great questions, and Dr. Allen for the great answers. And another reminder to anybody watching out there, please do go ahead and post your questions to the page, the event page comments, and we will get to them. I would like to say hello and a shout out to some people who commented that they are either watching or can't watch right now but are going to watch the replay, so I want to say hello to them. We've got Dave Pipe, Albert Spalding, hi there, thanks for joining us in the replay land. Pamela Zeman, she's out on the road today, but she's awesome. She's been a guest on this show, and she has a lot of great tips about eating healthy. Ron Snaberger, hi, all the way from Jupiter, Florida. Thanks for joining us. Paula Poblet, hello, Paula. Dana, we've already said hi to you a couple times. Oh, Lisa Boncino, hi, Lisa. She's a regular here for TGIF. Always has great things to add when she decides to come in and join us. And now we have another question from Richard O. Dr. Allen, do you feel there's a benefit from intermittent use of a vibration platform as part of a daily routine, perhaps 5 minutes 3 times a day? So first of all, please explain to us, what is he talking about with the vibration platform, if you know, and then go ahead and answer that question.
Yes, I'm quite familiar with that. I'm not, again, studied in the research behind that, but using that a vibration platform appears to have some benefit to stimulating the nervous system in a good way, because again, there's 2 types of stimuli, that major stimuli. What the body is good for the body, potentially vibration, but we also know that too much vibration, as in truck drivers and such, causes premature degeneration and osteoarthritis, contributes to that. So too much of a good thing, perhaps, is a bad thing. And so again, to 2 types of stimuli, so that potentially is good for the nervous system, that actually helps it restore and stimulate it. For example, stretching while balancing, yoga, for example, can have many benefits for those reasons, because you're introducing good stimuli to the body, and then what is called noxious or nociceptive noxious stimuli, which is potentially not just painful but harmful to the body, and that's perceived more than in ways of pain. So pain is not the only like potentially harmful stimuli. And that's what we know now to be true, and that's where you cannot just treat things based on pain. In other words, you don't sit there till something hurts and then get up and move around, because that's just over the top. And so we know that, for example, muscle tension, if you feel your shoulders and there's abnormal muscle tension there, that is a form of noxious stimuli that if you pay attention to your body, you should be getting up and moving and stretching out and doing some things. So to answer the platform question, yes, it appears in moderation that could be beneficial. To what degree it's beneficial, again, we don't know. But does it replace exercise? I would argue not.
I don't think anything replaces exercise and eating correctly.
Movement. I define it, exercise, healthy exercise, certainly as intentional movement. Intentional movement to potentially benefit you just for the sake of movement, because our bodies were made to move. And we know that if a joint in the spine or a joint in the body is immobilized due to injury or otherwise, it starts to break down and degenerate. Similarly, we know that parts of the nervous system and the brain, if not stimulated, which is interesting, that's why I'm not a proponent of video games for the most part, unless they're like ones that engage all the senses and get the brain working, and especially the cerebral cortex. What it does, the cerebral cortex has actually been shown to shrink if it's not used and engaged, and that is one of the aging deadly factors.
Uh-oh. You're talking to a gamer here. That's not what I want to hear. I love my video games.
But again, well, engaging activity, using the imagination, using the cerebral cortex, thinking, creativity, all those things decreases the temporal cortex activity, which it's interesting. Professor, well, this is widely known research that if the cerebral cortex in the frontal lobe starts to degenerate or have less use, it becomes overtaken by the temporal cortex, and there's theories that suggest that criminal activity is related to not enough frontal activity, which we'd kind of say, duh, yeah, they're not thinking, and it's dominated by temporal activity, which is impulsive and violent and just do what, it's just impulsive, and all those kind of carnal flight or fight type activities are right here. So even in your daily activities, you actually need to exercise your brain on a regular, good, healthy basis as well.
Wow, that's so interesting. I got one more comment I'd like to show, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us about your programs.
Sure.
Because we've only hit one of the 7.
Yeah, well, 2, 3.
We've hit one of the 7.
A couple of the others.
Okay. So Lisa, hi Lisa. Lisa says she just raised her laptop 8 inches by placing it on a basket, and her neck feels better already. So that's kind of instant
gratification
result.
And proof that you're going in the right direction. It may not be perfect, but it's a better improvement just from us sharing that information. So that's fantastic, and that's it's as simple as that. But imagine that if there were 100 steps and you did 10 of those steps to improve your workstation, do you think that would help you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would 25 of those steps be integrated every single day help you even more? And that's where we can actually, I think, get rid of this sitting is killing us by doing the right things. And that is one of the major deadly habits out there that I'm focusing on addressing, because we know we can change that fairly readily and fairly easily, most times at no cost.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm going to ask Dana, who has been joining us today, Dana Rivera, because she said that she has the footrest issue, that she has short leg syndrome and she's going to get a footrest. So Dana, when you get that footrest and you start using it, please come back and let us know. Did it give you any instant relief like Lisa got right away, and did it really help address some of the issues that you're having?
Yeah,
so
we want to hear that in the comment stream for sure.
Yeah. Dr. Allen, you have said that there are actually 7 habits that you address in your program. So tell us now a little bit about that program and what it entails, what you do during that program, and how people can get involved in it.
Right. Well, I'm going to flip my lower third here to where it actually says I'm excited to announce that we have a series, and it is a Google Hangouts based, but it's registration series with www.livepainfreeandenergized.com, and that is a program that's free, but really has a lot of value, because we will be addressing each of those 7 deadly habits and giving you solutions that are practical, just like we did today, but some in more depth. And it's a live series that's starting this coming Monday. So it's Monday, April 6th, the 11th on Thursday, Saturday the 6th, the 9th, the 11th, and the ending on the 13th on Monday. So that's a special series that my business partner that you mentioned, Elaine Cooper, we've put together, and it's a Google Hangouts based, so it will be interactive. You will have opportunities to ask questions. We're going to really reveal those 7 deadly habits in more detail, with some great solutions that you can take home and apply, just like some of our comments today. And we're thrilled to be offering that. And of course, we will be talking about our paid programs, later on in that series, how you can either even hire me or hire Elaine or both of us potentially. And that livepainfreeandenergized.com is the registration page for that series. And we're really encouraging people to sign up for that and take that all in and see if what we do meets your needs, because really we're here to help people. I know I can speak for Elaine as well. You had her on the show. She's really genuinely very helpful and very nice woman. Genuinely, we both want to help the world and the people be healthier with simple, active things you can do. Some of them are some of the tips that we gave today. So I'm really excited about that series. It's like a special series as opposed to my regular show, which I just have not had time to have season 2 yet, but it will be upcoming. I'm not sure when.
Okay, so to recap your Live Pain-Free and Energized series, that series itself is free, although you will be promoting your paid programs.
Paid programs, and give people the opportunity to contact us for either coaching or a one-on-one session is possible. I have a very limited number of those consultation type sessions, etc. So but the series we're delivering great content, basically teaching the deadly habits, why it's important to address those, and then offer a practical set of solutions. Our paid program, of course, is a much more set out program that helps you address those and truly transform your life for long-term improvement, as opposed to 1 or 2 tips here.
Well, this sounds great, because if somebody is interested, offering a free series like that is a wonderful way to give them an opportunity to check you out and make sure that they really like what you're doing, and for you to show how awesome and helpful. Now, is the Pain-Free and Energized series, is that going to be 7 hangouts, one for each of your 7 habits, or how many?
Actually, it's going to be a series of 4 hangouts on next Monday, the 6th, Thursday, the 9th, Saturday, the 11th, and ending on Monday, the 13th. And each of those shows will be packed with great stuff about the nature of the problem, addressing it and solutions to address those one at a time. So we will be addressing the 7 deadly habits throughout that 4 series. So please join us for that series, livepainfree, energized.com. I'm going to post it in the comment tracker again so that you can get that information. I posted it early on, and I will post that again, Melanie.
Okay. And it's also posted in the description area of the event page. The description is long. You might have to press a little more link to get all of it, but the link is there, and as Dr. Allen says, he'll be posting it in the comments as well. At this time, I'm going to go back to my peanut gallery and give everybody, because we're at quarter till already, a chance to do any of their own upcoming promos, let people know if they have any specials coming on, and give us any last thoughts or questions that they have on this topic we're discussing today. Brian, let's go to you first. Please unmute yourself and let us know if you have any questions. Unmute yourself. Okay,
Yep,
there we go. We hear you.
Okay. I actually had one question which I posted on the event page, which is, where would I find the study you referenced about, I guess you said from internal medicine, was it?
Yeah, let me just grab that. Annals of Internal Medicine. Of course, we always used to laugh as students. It was Annals of... Annals of Internal Medicine. It's a Toronto study. I had just pulled it up. You should be able to find it by cross-referencing that. And if not, go to Sitting is Killing Us, Google search that, and Sitting is Killing Us, CNN, and you'll see, I believe they have the link for the reference as well. Not the full reference, but certainly the abstract.
Thank you.
And Brian, I'm going to ask you a favor. When you get that link, would you please post it to the comments under the event listing for this?
That would be fantastic. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Do you have anything you'd like to promote coming up, Brian? Any specials or anything?
I think that things that I might promote would be local events, so I don't know how well that benefits anyone in the gallery. Perhaps for people who are local listeners.
We have local viewers, so go ahead.
Yeah, we have an upcoming fundraiser at Act 1, which will be a chili cook-off. So you can go to Act 1, the number 1, CV for CoachellaValley.org, and you'll find our chili cook-off and live auction event on the right side under the blog entries for all the details on that.
And feel free to post that link in the comments too, Brian. This is a networking hangout, and I want everybody to know it's a networking hangout. So I do welcome you to, not be blatantly spamming, but please do feel free to introduce yourself in the comments and to post a link to your own website or to whatever you want to promote. So Brian, feel free to put that link in there too. John, you're next.
I guess, Dr. Allen, I just want to thank you for taking the time. Since I injured my back 4 years ago, I've almost become a self-educated expert on back pain, back problems, and some traditional medicine people who told me lose weight and exercise, and my response was, I can't move. How can I exercise?
Exactly.
And actually, the path to my relief came from an amazing aqua therapist who spent about 6 months with me in the water, just loosening my muscles. And I guess the one thing I learned more than anything else, and you kind of reinforced here today, is about the lifestyle, the practices, and everything else. One of the things I found out ended up being my largest problem is I was muscle guarding. And so I didn't want that pain to come back, so I let all my muscles tighten up.
Right. Very, very common there, John.
Yeah. So thank you. This was, and I plan on watching because I think we need more of this.
And please share that. That's the frustrating thing, is that there's a lot of content out there, which is great, but when we really care about the people that are in our audience, we hear the stories. I should say I hear the stories a lot Elaine, different stories, but certainly back pain is a huge, huge issue, and yet some of the simple solutions are so simple that, again, it's not specific advice to you, but it's fairly general that you can be helped with a few simple things, even what you shared there, John. Thank you very much. And I would encourage people like you to continue to increase their mobility and also always believe in the potential for your body to heal, because that is the phenomenal thing that most medical people don't talk about.
Awesome. Roxanne, your turn. Any last questions there?
Well, I'll have to write this one in comments because it's about the back surgery my husband had. So it's long, but I'll ask you there. But thank you. Yes, a lot of great information, and I'll write about it because where my Seizure of the Day blog is.
Sure. And please share our event page, as I say, www.livepainfreeenergized.com. We're not quite full yet.
Because people with epilepsy, if they're with pain, time to sleep, we need it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, I'll share that with both websites. So
fabulous. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, because we need help.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and also I'm going to share what Roxanne and I were chatting about a little bit in the internal chat box inside this Hangout. She was asking about the number beds, the sleep number beds, and I'm going to say I'm not an advocate, I'm not selling them, I'm not commissioning, but I will share that I did buy a sleep number bed. It's one of those air beds, and you have this little device, and you put the number that tells the bed how much air to pump into the mattress to make it firmer or softer. And my personal experience has been amazing. Ever since I bought my sleep number bed, I have slept so well, and so much of my back pain went away. And
you know, that is the amazing thing. That's a great story. Now, not that I advocate any type of bed, because I'm not endorsing anything right now, or not endorsing, but again, the principle, if you go by, is if it produces results that are consistently favorable, in other words, it's good for you, then it's likely a good thing for you. If it's questionable, or, you know, I don't really feel different, or I feel worse on a consistent basis, not a one-time trial. The problem is trying beds. You have to go out on a limb and make a decision at some point in time, and hopefully it's going to serve you well. But thank you for sharing that, because now for another person, that type of bed would be an awful bed for them. So that's my point.
Right, and I'm glad you said that you put out that disclaimer. It's not an endorsement. I'm just sharing my own personal story and what the results were for me personally. Yeah. So I have a question for you, though, because John mentioned muscle guarding. What is that? What does that mean exactly?
Well, I interpret that, Elaine and John, as that he's gotten very guarded with his activity, because a certain amount of movement causes pain, so he's learned to tighten up and basically seize up. The problem with that is that restricts movement, and it, causes other problems like ropey muscles, or even fibrotic or permanent tightness of muscles over time. So movement therapy, movement in general within normal ranges of movement and normal function is what the body's meant to do. Now, all these issues come up that are very real, that cause pain. People stop moving. So the key is to address the cause of that, is to actually increase movement and learn to desensitize that, so you actually have greater function, as opposed to just moving within what doesn't hurt. That's a serious problem. So then a person becomes less and less mobile, for example, with a hump. Well, it's uncomfortable to sit up, your kid might say. Well, let's get to the cause of the problem, treat that if you need to, whether chiropractic, which is among the best treatments for correcting alignment and function, because that's what I do, that's what we do. That is addressing the cause of the problem, so that all of a sudden, great posture, and movement is all of a sudden pain-free. It's no longer restrictive and painful. So that's what I believe you experienced there, John, and continue to experience. And the body has an amazing ability through the nervous system to fix all that stuff in most cases.
One of the things I noticed when I was working with the aquatherapist, I would ask her, why are we working my upper shoulders? It's my lower back that's giving me problems.
Exactly.
And she said, if you don't develop everything, all you're going to do is focus on supporting your body with those lower muscles. So made a big difference.
Great point. And that's where, yeah. So the holistic view is in certainly absolutely the most effective treatment view, in my opinion, to address the body as a whole being, and we know that goes into layers and layers beyond that now.
Yeah, I'm very much into the holistic mindset as well. I have a couple of comments I'd like to share. Lisa Voncino has a really good question. Is there an organization which lists holistic chiropractors by location? Do you, by any chance, know of one, Dr. Allen?
The International Chiropractic Association has more holistic practitioners than other organizations, but again, it's not a set rule. I always recommend walk into the person's office, check them out, and do the meet and greet type of thing before you commit to much of anything else, because ultimately it becomes the holistic part of care is actually the personality as well. So, but the International Chiropractic Association should lead you closer to that direction.
Great. And next I want to show this one here. Alan put a post out right in the event listing comments. So if you're looking for the link for his Live Pain Free and Energized.com series, just go right to the comments under the event listing and you'll find it there in this post by Dr. Allen.
Perfect.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Dr. Allen, for being on the show today. It was awesome to have you.
You're most welcome.
Final words? Any final words you'd like to leave before I sign out?
Final words is you're doing great stuff, Melanie, having these this format. I love it. You know, if I can help you out and be on the show again or share something else, I'd love to. But I look forward to seeing you and others on our short series, which already begins this Monday. Wow, we've been working at it for a couple months now. So we really want to have a big audience to share this stuff with. So please do share, whether you see this in replay or otherwise. Thank you very much for sharing and having me as a guest on your show. This is what I'm passionate about doing. I'm passionate about helping people get better and stay better.
Thank you so much. You're a wonderful guest, Dr. Allen. It was a pleasure to have you. And that is the reason I do this show, because I want to bring useful information to other solopreneurs and entrepreneurs and small business people out there. I do try to have guests come on that will be providing information that will help us run our businesses better and stay healthier while we're doing it. I would like to remind everybody that, as Dr. Allen said a couple of weeks ago, I think it was 2 shows ago, Elaine Cooper was the guest, and she is his partner in the Live Pain Free and Energized series. So if you want to find out more about Elaine, go back and look for TGIF Business Networking Hangout archive on YouTube, or just do a search for TGIF and Elaine Cooper and you'll come up with that episode. Join me again for the next TGIF Business Networking Hangout on, let me bring my calendar up, let's see, today on the 17th, Friday, April 17th. Now, I actually don't have a guest lined up for that episode, so here's my invitation to all of you. If you are a business-to-business person, if you serve business people, entrepreneurs, and especially solopreneurs, and if you have information that will help them live their lives more fully, while they're working, please contact me. I'd love to have you on the show. I'm always looking for people with good information to provide. Now, the following show after that is going to be on Friday, May 1st, and my guest is going to be Nicole Levine. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in posts upcoming in my stream, so watch for that in the future. This is your host, Melanie MacDonald, TGIF Business Networking Hangout. Thank you for joining us, and have a beautiful day and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.